look at them, what do you see in terms of the Vikings? I mean, they're pretty close, like you guys, a play or two away, and then, you both might be 2-0.
Yeah, well, a ton of respect for their team. The year that they had last year in Kevin's first year, a lot of dangerous players on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game, and they've had 2 tough games this year. So they had a fantastic season last year, and a lot of the key guys that were the engines in that season are there. A lot of experience and a lot of dangerous players. So a lot of respect for them.
Obviously a different offense, but going back to that 2021 game you had against the Vikings and Jefferson, just what did you take away from that game and anything you can use from that game in this game?
Yeah, completely different offense, but just in terms of Justin, one of the fantastic players in the league, certainly off to a historic pace, and one of the most complete receivers, I think, to be in the NFL in a long time, and for him to be able to do all this as such a young player, he's definitely one of the faces of the league.
You and Kevin have a personal relationship playing against each other as head coaches for the first time. Is that something you're excited about, or is it like you don't want to go into that? And do you guys communicate still? Have you this season?
Yeah, I mean, he's like a brother to me, but I mean, we're going head to head on Sunday. And so our friendship is going to be a distant second to us winning and losing, on Sunday. So, I just have the utmost respect for him as a leader, as a coach. He's one of the top coaches that I've ever worked with. He's one of the top play callers that I'm going to have to go against, and so he's doing a great job with that team, and it's going to be a great challenge.
Is there a difference when you're game planning for somebody that you know so well, because maybe you know the way that they move a little different than it shows?
There's that chess match of what we're going to do, and I think the fact that we know each other so well, makes it even tougher at times. But it's going to be about the players on the field on Sunday. It's going to be our players executing at a high level. And, that's going to be, determining who wins and loses on Sunday.
What impresses you about Kevin as an offensive mind?
He just knows how to use his people. I think he knows, number one, how to feature the quarterback. I think wherever Kevin has been as a coach in the NFL, the quarterbacks have played at a high level. He's had a lot of different players at quarterback. And so, I think that what he's been able to accomplish with Kirk as the head coach, I mean, he's definitely gotten Kirk in rhythm. They have a relationship, and and then just I think the production of their playmakers, whether it's Jefferson or Hawkinson, the runners, Osborne, the new receiver, the rookie, Addison. He's just been able to distribute the football, and they've been one of the top passing attacks in the league.
You saw Austin not practicing, but back on the field. Do you have any update on sort of where he's at with his ankle?
No updates, no timeline.
Was Khalil just a veteran rest today?
He was, yeah.
Kirk does receive a lot of criticism for a Pro Bowl quarterback. How is he viewed, do you think, those in the know, related to other quarterbacks around the league? Is it unfair a little bit what he's gone through?
Well, if you talk to the coaches who have coached Kirk and some of the top coaches in this league offensively who have coached him, they don't feel that way about him. They feel very strongly about Kirk as a player. So when you're talking about the coaches that he was with in Washington, the coaches that he's had in Minnesota, I mean, he's played for some of the top coaches in the league. Some of my friends that have personally coached him, have the utmost respect for Kirk. I know we went against him when I was in Chicago, and then Denver, and then here with the Chargers. So he's an outstanding player. He's one of the most productive players at his position. I think he stood the test of time. They've won a lot of football games with him there, and I think the weapons that they've had have really benefited from him being the quarterback. So. He was a big engine for them being a playoff team last year, and, he has our full respect for sure.
What's your assessment of the pass protection, pass blocking so far through 2 weeks? For you guys
of ours? Yeah, I think our group is the right group to be coaching. I think that, group of 5 plus tight ends and backs gives us a chance. We had a tough day against, Tennessee. That's a good defense, but, we were still able to throw for, well over 300 yards, and I thought that we were bloody in the run game. We were patient in the run game. We didn't get those splitters, but our O-line is going to continue to improve. And again, they're still kind of brand new together in terms of the size that they're working on. So we're only 2 games in, but that group is a real strength of our team.
With the defense this week, how much has it been about refining technique and being in proper leverage and play calls?
Yeah, I mean, the fundamentals are, I think it's especially at the beginning of your season, you have to really build your fundamentals for the end of the season, because you're in pads, and this time is critical in the team building process. So it's fundamentals at every position in all 3 phases of our team, and I think you're alluding to the secondary, but there's nothing more important than being able to play your leverage with the right technique. That's going to put you in the position to play clean football, and it's going to put you in the position to make plays.
You've looked at 2 films of 2 very winnable games. Is there one ingredient that's missing from you guys being 2-0 instead of 0-2?
There's not just one ingredient, but I think the key thing is being able to capitalize on our opportunities. I think people are looking at the ends of the game, but I think we've had opportunities at the beginning and the middle part of the game to separate, and I don't think we've been able to do that. We just got to execute at a higher level to get that accomplished, and then at the end of the game, we got to be at our best.
They've always been a pretty balanced offense because they had a great running game with Cook and Jefferson, and now they don't have Cook. So you notice in just the 2 games a difference in their offense?
Yeah, it's just different matchups for them. I mean, they play Tampa, who's got a really good front 7. I mean, as good a front 7 as you're going to see. Really big guys, really athletic linebackers. And so the matchups are a little bit different. But we've played against Madison. We've got a lot of respect for him, and Ty Chandler's a dangerous player. We did a lot of work on him out at North Carolina. So, I think they've got to, with the way they run the ball and the way they scheme the run, they're dangerous in the run game, and that run action sets up a lot of their passing game. The marriage of the run and the pass. So, they have got the tight ends to do the job. With Oliver and Hawkinson and Johnny Munt, who I was with the Rams. So, the run game has our respect.
Does Eric Kendricks have a chance to play this week?
No timeline on Eric. He's working his way back, though.
I know you said people are focusing on late game situations, but for you, how much more frustrating is what's happened in the middle 8?
Yeah, it's there's those critical kind of big picture components in a game, and that's certainly one of them that we've emphasized since I've been here. But last week, the end of the half and the beginning of the half. We didn't have our best stuff. The beginning of the half with the 2 penalties, the 2 third-down penalties, that was a big factor in the game. But, what I liked about the beginning of the third quarter was our offense went right down and scored to get us the momentum back. And I thought that was a really good response for us and got that lead back to, 21-17. So, again, we got to be better in that juncture of the game for sure.
What do you admire from afar about Harrison Smith and the versatility he brings?
Yeah, Harrison's one of these, I think, one of the most underrated safeties of his kind of era. I have a lot of guys who've coached him. Jonathan Gannon, who's one of my best friends, and Jeff Howard, that group of guys. To me, he's one of those safeties that's, I think, set a real standard at the position. I've been around a lot of special safeties, Eddie Jackson and Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, John Johnson, Derwin. We've been around a lot of good ones, but Harrison, I think, has been as consistent of a safety as there's been in his era of playing. I think in Minnesota, we've played at Minnesota a lot of years since I've been in the league, and he's just always been in the way. I can remember my first year in Chicago, he had a game winner interception, at Soldier Field, and Trubisky's first start, and he's just one of those guys who's a problem. He's so smart. He's seen all the looks. He can do everything well, passing, pass defense in the deep part of the field, blitzer, open field tackling. He's a commander, and again, so much respect for him.
What you've seen early on here from Brian Flores, is it similar to what he's done in the past as a defensive coach? Do you see any sort of wrinkles that he's brought up here in the first couple of weeks?
Well, Brian's an outstanding defensive coach. Wherever he's been one of the top coaches in the league. And the one thing about Brian is that he's going to get the best out of his group. He knows how to fit whatever group he's playing with the type of scheme that he believes in. He's not tied to one scheme. He's flexible. He was trained that way in New England, and wherever he's gone, they've been a little bit different. So, he's an outstanding coach. They play with toughness and discipline, and they're very game plan specific. So you don't necessarily know going into a plan what you're going to get.
When you and Kevin were going against each other with the Rams in 2020, was there ever that feeling that somewhere down the line you guys were going to be on opposing sidelines as head coaches against each other?
There were a lot of coaches on that staff who were capable of being head coaches, who are capable of being head coaches. And that was one of the things that was, I think, for us, such a special part of that experience was going head to head against, who we felt like were some of the top coaches in the league. And so, we had some of the top players in the league to coach, and there was just that special environment where each day you had to be on it, you had to perform, and that certainly the best places I've been around. And, I think, that's what I love about what we have going here is that when you have coaches and players who are of the top caliber in the league, then you're gonna get better. And, Kevin, in that year that we had together, besides us being friends, you knew that he was going to be a head coach for sure.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, one.
I know you said there was no timeline on Austin and Monday. Just want to check, is there anything change there with Austin?
No change. No change.
And just double check, when you say no timeline, is that like just you saying I don't know yet, or is that like saying like
It's saying I don't know yet.
just